is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
And welcome to another edition of Guardian Radio Today with your host, Pastor Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas III, also known as Kahun Anku Sarah. It is another beautiful Wednesday, the 28th of January. It's cool. It's not too hot. Loving it. Make sure you stay safe on the roads if you're driving, and stay awake if you're at work. So I know some of you probably just ate lunch. But thank you for being here on another opportunity for us to share with you on Guardian Radio today. As always, we have a wonderful show planned for you. And I want to introduce our good brother who's been here many times, Rev. Dr. A.J. Varma, who's the head of the Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah Journey Home Group International. And we're going to be talking about something that is very important to our community. We know February for many people is kind of like the lover's season, right? So every year we have our Love Lies Liberation, and we're doing it again this year. And I brought Dr. Varma here to share some information on the event, but also just to talk about relationships on the whole. My brother, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. You talk about it was all nice weather, cool.
Y'all snowed in, right?
Cool. No, we were iced in, but
iced in. Wow.
It's about 38 degrees now, so it's warm. It's warming up.
Wow, I think that's
you talking about it went down to 12 last night. Yeah.
What? When he plays that,
that's what they said. I didn't go outside to figure it out. I just went on and trusted that one.
Man, oh man, yeah. The freezers in the houses. That's what it. But yeah, we good. Yeah, man. Mastu, my brother. We every year we have this wonderful event, Love Lies Liberation, Love Lies and Liberation, and I wanted you to come on to share with the good people of the Bahamas and those who are listening around the world about this event, and most importantly, talk about this healing that we need in the melanated community, healing melanated love and lineage. Before we dive into it, my brother, just explain what is Love, Lies, and Liberation, please.
Well, in a nutshell, as far as the event is it comes out of a book written years ago called The Science and Art of Sex, as taught by the Men Priesthood. I wrote it back in 2005, 2004. Wow. It's been a while. Mm-hmm. And I wrote it just off of the idea of everybody, I have a teacher and he wrote a book years like a Muslim. Mm-hmm. So I read that back. I was probably 13, 14, really young. But it helped to shape how I would approach sex, bedroom part. Mm-hmm. But as far as the relationship part, so when the Science and Art of Sex was written, which would give birth to the Love, Lies, Liberation book, it was written from the standpoint of, in school you learn about health or sex education and a lot of information and, sex and semen, and it comes from that perspective. And then I found a lot of guys I grew up around at a certain point, especially in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, they were reading this Pimps Up, Hoes Down, Pimpology, a lot of those kind of books that were real big. I'm sure when you were at Tuskegee, guys were, so everybody was on this. And it really put a lot of guys into porn, a lot of girls, for that matter, into porn, ended up watching porn. Still a lot of people big into watching porn. And and engaging in all types of other stuff that's happening today. It kind of blows my mind. But
Mm-hmm.
so I said, well, you know, at that time I said, well, let me write. I have children and they were young. I said, well, when they get to a certain age, I want them to be able to have something that they can read when they start asking me about life and procreation and sex and all that, we can at least have a foundation to start the conversation. And so I started writing it and said, well, I'm going to write it for them. Let me just put it out.
Mm-hmm.
And it gained some traction. People were upset. How could he put out this kind of book? I was like, it's biology. Right. But anyway.
That's how we got it.
So about all of us got, well, at least most of us got it, right? So about 6, 7, 8 years ago, about 6 years ago now, right, 2020, going through a divorce at the time, beginning of a divorce, said, well, you know, it's a good time to have a conversation about Black love and Black relationships.
Yeah.
And from there, it took off. Had other people like yourself, Kahun Muntu, Elder Owen, Mr. Jan, Shan out in Bahamas, Miss Shanique Miller from
Beyond the Headlines.
So Beyond the Headline, that's my show, because I'm always linked to it to see what's going on in Bahamas. And so she brought us on, and I'm so grateful to her. And it's just been gaining some traction as far as the conversation. And then, of course, Kevin Samuels, et cetera, et cetera. And now you got everybody got a podcast and everybody's talking relationships. But the book was predicated off of what I had read, and then also the great Bibi Shahrazad Ali, A Black Man's Guide to Understanding Black Women. I remember reading it. My teacher bought it at the time it came out in 88. Gave it to me, said, you got to read this. Gave it to every brother in our community. It was 1,000 men. He bought 1,000 copies and gave everybody a copy. Then the Black Woman's Guide to Understanding the Black Man, it came out, blew me away even further. And so between those life experiences, Love, Life, Liberation, and Liberation was born. Because, you know, when you talk about love, right, years ago, I'm not a porn person, never been, never watched. But for the people who do, who have, and et cetera, they said that the big thing at one time was porn. You know, I was a kid. I used to walk past the newsstands and you see the porn magazines, right? Penthouse, Playboy. Always a white woman on the cover.
Right.
Always. Which I didn't have a problem with now, you know, looking back. We don't want to denigrate our sisters in that way. But what it does do to a lot of women and men is it gives us a twisted concept of what beauty is and is not. And
right.
It led to a lot of Black women now having BBLs and getting skin ablations, and where they're peeling the top layer of the skin to remove the quote unquote the dark spots, right? The big dark spots. So I have a problem with that. But anyway, right, remove the dark spots and a lot of things, and nose jobs now. People getting nose job, rhinoplasties back, right? Because it used to be a big thing. A lot of the musicians, the Stephanie Mills, the Patti LaBelle's, the Michael Jackson, or the whole Jackson clan, right? They all got the nose jobs, the rhinoplasty. Now it's back. Now you see Tamar Jackson, she's done it. Serena Williams, she's done it. Got a lot of people do. So now you got this whole thing, and it comes out of the makeup changes of the last decade, where they moved away from traditional makeup for women, and then the transvestite movement got in, and now women kind of doing this airbrushing transvestite kind of look, but they're really women, but they kind of, the makeup has been done by some, it don't look right. And I'm not saying it to insult anybody. I'm just saying it so people can.
We just talked about this yesterday about self-hate. So this came up yesterday.
Yeah. And so Love, Lies, Liberation is, we got to stop loving the lies if we want to get liberated. Right? We are loving the lies of beauty standards. We're loving the lies of male-female interactions. We're loving the lies of sex, bedroom conversation, what on each other, that can't be it, right? It just can't be, right? Pooing on each other can't be it. Right. Spitting in each other's mouth. Spitting on my mother said, somebody spit on you, you hit them. Right? So, because it was, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they got some stuff for you now.
Yeah.
So, you know, when we look at Black indigenous love, melanated love globally, you know, our people loved deeply. I'm talking before Rome, before Greece, before colonization, infiltration, subjugation, miseducation, misinformation, kidnapping, enslavement. Before that, right? That's a lot of layers.
Yes.
We loved deeply. We loved with intent. We loved in a way, and I'm using the word love. I'm going to say hub, H-U-B, hub, or H-U-W-B, hub, right? Divine melanated love. Right, Aswad hub, right? Hub. Black love, right? Hub, H-U-B, and we loved in a ways that were more communal.
Okay.
Because our relationships were not seen as just me, you in the house as man and woman. It was seen as our interaction, me, you, and the community, the people who lived around us, who depended on seeing us and seeing us
Mm.
together. This idea of I am because you are.
Yes.
Ubuntu.
Ubuntu, yes.
Ubuntu, right? Some say Ubuntu, right? Ubuntu is the right way to say Ubuntu, but Ubuntu, right?
Okay.
I am because you are. And it was a model, it was embodied in our spirituality. It was embodied in a model that was conflicting to the models that Europe would impose, or even the Arabs would impose, or even the Aryan East Indians would impose. I'm not talking about the Black East Indians. I'm talking about the Aryan East Indians. And there was no single way per se. Right? They all shared principles.
Okay.
But regardless of tribe. So you went amongst the Iwe, the Fanti, the Fulani, or you came to North America amongst the Mandan and the Seminole and the Choctaw, or you went to South America amongst the Inca or the Zoroastrians. We all shared these principles, right? That was grounded in respect, though it was diverse. It wasn't monolithic, but it had respect for the human anatomy, for the ritual of sex. Right? Sex was not just, get in the bedroom, take clothes off, because, we all watch the movies, and they come up the steps and they got to take off the shoes, and they try to come off the clothes, and they, bam, and they hitting the wall, and busting the bam, and the clothes comes off, and then they get up out the bed, they go to work the next day.
I know.
I don't know what that is, because
No
I got to bathe. Yeah, no bathing before, no bathing after. That's a whole lot. It's a lot to unpack, right? But so that's redefined what sex is, right? Because, it kind of changed it. So love lies liberation. And it was communal, wasn't isolated. It didn't exist between two people in this vacuum. Relationships were based on family, clan, lineage, community. The Bible talks about it. Well, man would leave his mother and father, cleave onto his wife, they would become one flesh. Child rearing, that was a part of it, because it was understood that this ritual that we're doing, this sacred energy exchange, or I also use natural sexual union, right? NSU, natural sexual union, or sex, sacred energy exchange. The ultimate power behind it was creativity or creation or co-creation. That when this man and this woman come together under health and wealth and well-being, that they're now participating in an event that at its highest point allows them to co-create and to engender life and to propel generations before them into the living realm. This was understood. The Bible says the same thing, right? I'm Jesus of the house of David, of the line of Jesse, of the family of Isaac and Jacob, of the family of Abraham, of the covenant of Noah, of the line of Seth, of the seed of the woman. So that doctrine still, it permeates it for those of us that are Christian. For those of us that are Muslim have the same thing. Surely we've created you into tribes and families that you may know one another. So this idea of tribe and family and knowing each other in community, that child rearing, that emotional support, that survival was considered collective responsibility. Love, life, and liberation focuses on that, because you can't stop loving the lie if you don't learn the truth. See, once you start learning the truth, Scripture says, you shall know the truth and the truth shall make you free. So once we start learning the truth allows you to stop living the lie. When you don't know the truth, you follow the lie. Right? Any of us getting lied to, right? I'm sure all those women like, I remember he lied to me, right? But, all right, cool, I'll work with them. I'll work with it, right? But anybody's ever been lied to about anything and didn't know you were being lied to, whether it was somebody mischarged you or you purchased something, you got home, oh man, I paid $5 extra, right? The only way to move from that lie is to learn the truth.
Wow.
Right? And accept the truth. Sometimes we hear the truth as Black people, melanated people, indigenous people, Black Caribbean, Black British, African American, whatever we want to call ourselves, right? Melaninites, melanated people. We end up in a situation where without knowing that truth, the lie just becomes the truth to us.
Right.
We live this lie. So when it comes to relationships, we're living this lie. And so Love Lies Liberation says collective responsibility, emotional support, survival, child rearing. Now, this romantic love, that's Roman, because the Roman love, Romans would give their wives to another man and be watching orgies. That's not love.
Right.
And I'm not, whatever people doing, that's their thing. I am knocking it, but whatever you're doing, that's your thing,
Right.
right? But if I love you, I will never ask you to do something that's going to denigrate you or demean you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That can't be love. But today, that's love. Puffy and Cassie are not an outliner. Puffy and Cassie is happening.
Yeah.
Threesomes, foursomes, fivesomes, themsomes, somesomes, right?
Right.
All of this is taking place. Love, Lies, and Liberation says we need to address that, because out of that type of energy, out of that type of behavior, you can't produce high-level, high-thinking children. It's impossible.
Mm.
So we all, as Christians and Muslims, we talk about the destructions of Sodom and Gomorrah, the destructions of Samaria, right? The destruction in the Quran of Thamud and Hud, the land of Ad and Thamud, if you're a Muslim, right? The destruction of these wicked cities, these wicked nations were destroyed. This is what we believe, right? We teach. But now we're doing the behavior. We're participating in the things that the people of Sodom and Gomorrah and Samaria and Babylon, and the things that they were doing, Black folks are engaging in. We used to have a moral high ground. I'm talking about 1960.
Mm-hmm.
1950, 1960, melanated people had the moral high ground. We could say to other people how they were treating us, and we could speak from a position of morality and intelligence and integrity. Now when we speak, if you watch, I don't know the show, I'm kind of addicted to it, but I'm not, with Angela Yee. I don't know if I watch it, but I'm disgusted, but
it just keeps coming up on your timeline.
Yeah, I'm like, what? That timeline, we got to talk about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
That AI. But so it can't be talking like this.
Mm-hmm.
But there is, and I didn't say there are, I said there is, right? There is talking like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, and they're being funded, but you got to know who they're being funded by. The gambling houses are funding them.
The gambling houses, you say?
Yeah, the gambling betting, the online betting. They're funding these types of programming.
Okay.
Because they want to paint a narrative about Black relationships. They want to paint a narrative about they're not showing the Black couples having intelligent conversations. There's a few, but they're not getting that sponsorship.
Right.
To get that sponsorship, you got to be talking crazy silly. And so Love, Lies, Liberation is saying that we're in a position that less harmony is happening. See, when community harmony is at the center of our relationships, there's less pressure on one partner to be everything. See, if it's just me and my wife and we just in the house and we're isolated from the community, I'm her everything, she's my everything. Mm-hmm. If she's my everything, then everything she does that doesn't fill this need, I'm going to see it. She's going to see mine. Mm-hmm. But when we have community involvement, and I'm not talking about nosy girlfriends and guy friends. I'm talking about that. That's not community involvement. That's somebody just tricking you, telling you stupidity. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about community when the culture is dictating, the laws are dictating, the commandments are dictating, the spiritual system, the meditation, the yoga. Black men, we love giving Black women massages. I'm a massager. I'm a massage specialist. I don't know how it normally ends up at the end of the massage, but when but when we get back where love is spiritual and ancestral, when love is sanctioned by Scripture, because you used to say, what God has put together, let no man put asunder. That means there's a divine love. Mm-hmm. When love was sanctioned by Rishon, was sanctioned by ancestors, when it was aligned with cosmic and natural law.
Yes.
I said natural. The only group of animal that I've ever seen participate in an orgy with a bunch of one-on-one is a snake ball, right? Because a snake, they call it a mating ball, where a female snake will have about 50 men wrapped in a ball, copulating with her, trying to impregnate. Mm-hmm. They call it a mating ball. You don't find that in mammals, right? You don't see a bunch of chimpanzees on one chimpanzee, or a bunch of whales on one whale, or a bunch of elephants on one elephant. Mm-hmm. This thing that's popped up in the Black community, we didn't have it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We didn't have that. Yeah. And we've picked up the ways. The book of Revelation says, come out of her, my people. Mm-hmm. Now that's physically removal, but also mental removal. The ways of the Nazarites. The word Nazarite, number 6, talks about separation. Come out of her, my people, that you be not, Revelations 18, that you be not partakers of her iniquities, nor receive of her plagues. Her iniquities is her lawlessness. The Greek uses the word anomia. In the
Mm.
Old Testament Hebrew, it uses the word ion, and it means lawlessness, violations, to miss the mark. It means to fall short of. It means to violate the law. And we have picked up the iniquities of this of this. It's made us less than.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when divine African melanated interaction between male and female, it was aligned with cosmic or natural law.
Okay.
It was a part of your purpose, be fruitful and multiply. See, that was purpose. That was a commandment.
Yes.
And God said, be fruitful and multiply. So the original purpose of this copulation, Genesis 1, 26, 27, 28, was about procreation. Yes, pleasure is a part of it, but we didn't have pleasure over purpose. We had purpose over pleasure.
Right.
The purpose was for procreation. The purpose was for communal interaction. The purpose was for binding of two flesh, so they shall become one flesh. The purpose was to create a bond between male and female.
Yes.
They wasn't sleeping together every night, but they were working together every day.
Mm-hmm.
They were interacting.
Mm-hmm.
And then in that process, at an appointed time, children were born.
Mm-hmm.
See, the man knew his wife Eve at the appointed time, and she gave birth to Cain.
Mm-hmm.
And at an appointed time, now the first one was an appointed time. That's why Cain was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
He wasn't conceived at an appointed time. Now the pastors are going to grab this one for Sunday service, so watch out, y'all, right?
Mm-hmm.
But right, Cain was not at the appointed time. We go back and look at the Bible in Genesis 4. It says the man knew his wife. It wasn't. It says it came to pass.
Mm.
Notice the difference in the verbiage. See, Love Lies Liberation. It deals with things from what it says, not what we want it to say.
Yes.
So when we look at Genesis 4,
Mm-hmm.
it says, and Adam knew Eve, his wife,
Mm-hmm.
and she conceived and bare Cain and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord.
Right.
2, and she again bare his brother Abel.
Mm-hmm.
Huh? Now, but when we go further down after Cain done killed Abel, that's Genesis 4, verse 1 and verse 2.
Mm-hmm.
When you go further down to Genesis, I believe it'd be Genesis 4:25.
Okay, yes. And Adam knew, yes, he knew his wife again.
And Adam knew his wife again, and she bare, but then she says, for God, said she, has appointed me another seed.
Difference.
See, that Genesis 4, 1 and 2, there's no appointment.
Mm.
They just knew. They just were sleeping together. They were doing what we find us doing today. We just, whatever, smash and dash, hit skills, whatever. I don't know what the right word is, friends with benefit. We got a lot of different slangs. I try to pick them all up so I can pretend to be relevant, right? It's not be so old or older.
Yes.
So this appointed time made us give birth to appointed children.
Okay. Powerful.
And I'm speaking from the experience. People tell me, "Oh man, your children, they're so intelligent." I'm like, yeah, because we was operating, we were writing books, we were teaching, we were building, we were working, we were in nursing school, med school, and so we were always making sure they were conceived with intelligence.
Yes.
I didn't say there was no pleasure. I'm talking about, for me, it's the intelligence. What am I engaged in at this moment, at this time? What am I working on? What's the goal? Because that's what you're going to engender. So Love Lies Liberation focused on that. And that's important because, as you said, in a time with AI, right?
Yeah.
If I go online and I click a certain thing, click one time, clickbait. Oh man, this is interesting. And I'm a man, so I'm pro man. And what man? I'm going to keep getting nothing but that on my timeline.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talking to one of the wives the other day, and she was saying that she's like, the timeline is with us. Damn, you're right. Then if I'm a woman, I'm gonna click on that, and what's gonna happen? Same thing.
Algorithm, yes.
Algorithm. So the algorithm, but not what they're not telling you. Now, some of us, we can't even tell the difference between AI and real anymore.
Right.
It's gotten so good.
That's true.
Right. One of my oldest sons, he's a mechanical engineer. And he's like, Dad, we're working on it where it's not going to even need you to add stuff anymore. It's going to be fully automated on its own. Wow. And that's where the danger, they're worried, right? They're concerned. They're working on it, but they're concerned. But this AI, so it keeps flooding your line. Man ain't no good, man ain't no good, man ain't no good. Because it's feeding you dopamine because dopamine is self-confirmation. So if I feel women are no good, it's going to keep feeding me on my timeline. Women are no good, women are no good, women are no good. And thus I'm going to keep feeling reaffirmed that women are no good. Thus I'm going to keep saying women are no good. And if you're a female, you're going to keep getting men are no good, men are no good, men are no good. And it's going to feed the dopamine because we're getting self-confirmation. So it feels like it's talking to me. So we wake up, oh, right to my phone. And if you simply click on the opposite thing, go online and type in YouTube or on Facebook, the opposite to what you believe. Men are good. Women are good. And it'll send you something. And then black women are the best. Black men are the best. It'll send you. And then keep clicking and notice you start getting something totally different. And who's doing it? These are white men. Racism, white supremacy. I hate to bring that subject up, but it's got to. You can't talk black love and not talk racism, because racism, white supremacy, chattel slavery, Arab enslavement, Chinese enslavement of black people, Japanese slave trade of black people, South Korean slave trade of black people, Aryan, Iranian slave trade, Persian of black people. They've interrupted black love and black success and melanated progression. They've interfered with it. So we got to talk about it because it plays a role.
Yeah.
Race. I'm sorry.
No worries. I'm enjoying the show, and I got people texting in. I got one person on the phone line waiting, but this texter says, "Good day. Where does polyamory fall into this discussion?"
Okay, we did not have polyamory. People, we grabbed words because somebody done threw poly. I remember brother said, "I'm a polyamorous," right? One of the Love Live about 5 years ago, right, brother Jacob, right? Well, first of all, Africa. If we're going to follow scripture, I'm going to quote scripture, and then I'm going to show you where African culture aligns. There was a thing called family. Family. In indigenous North America, melanated North America, indigenous South America, melanated, indigenous people of the Ainu people of China, Japan, the Asian Pacific, Polynesia, all melanated, black, brown people. Africa, of course, Middle East was all us, all the way through Persia. We had families that were made up of a husband and multiple wives. That system was everywhere.
And we call that family.
And that was called family because nature made it to where there were more females than there were males. So we didn't have this single mother. We didn't have orphan children.
Right.
We didn't have old folks' homes, and we didn't have prisons.
Right.
We had family, and that one man with his 2 wives, 3 wives, the Bible agrees, Abraham, 3 wives plus concubines, Solomon, David, of course, Jacob, Judah, and we can just keep Noah, et cetera, right? Both. So they had multiple wives, but this was family. Someone created the term polygamy. We didn't have the Greeks and the Romans yet. It wasn't born. Shekhinti Diop talked about the northern cradle of civilization going back 6,000 to 8,000 years, debated against the scholars of Oxford and Cambridge, proved it beyond proof. You can read the books by Shekhinti Diop. Then the southern cradle of civilization, Africa, going back beyond Lucy, 3.5 million and beyond. They had family. How? And this was the family structure, and it worked for us. We understood the sacredness of it. We understood the cosmic or natural laws. We understood the life purpose. We understood it was sanctioned by ancestors. We understood spiritual compatibility. We understood or comprehended lineage balancement. We understood being able to complement each other's energy, not just I'm attracted to you, but does my energy complement attraction energy and complementary energy. We'll talk about it. So we had family. Greeks and Romans, they the Europeans, the Greeks, the Romans, the Gaelic people, Teutonic people, Germanic people, people of Norway and Sweden, they had a problem. Right? This 6,000-year-old child had a problem. Problem was, which they still struggle with, procreation.
Yeah.
They struggled to give birth, and when they did give birth, they struggled to even reach certain ages. Remember, they talked about the Dark Ages, the bubonic plagues. They were dying. It's not me. This Western civilization won. Every high school in America, and I believe the Caribbean, Western civilization won. Bubonic plague. Europe was dying. The Romans, that's why no Caesar had a blood heir that was their personal son. They didn't, because they couldn't have children. Right? Now, so once they realized that they couldn't have children, people who could have children, sex is sacred. People who can't have children have to have another purpose for sex.
Okay.
So they repurpose sex.
Okay.
And then it became about hedonism. This is not a term I've created. I'm getting to the polyamory.
Yep.
Hedonism. Hedonism is more pleasure, best pleasure, do what you want pleasure. You want gerbils, bring them. Who likes dogs? Bring them. Who likes beets? No, now we're laughing, but that was called the orgastic rites of Rome and Greece.
Wow.
And the orgastic rites was the festival of Juno, the festival of Janus, Theseus. These were festivals where frolicking and every hole and pole in the land was being filled.
My Lord.
Fists were going inside of body parts, male and female. Tongues were going inside of places that stuff only supposed to come out of.
Right.
All of this became sex. And it just became more decadent and more decadent. Now, that today, everything I just said was bad. Today, people say, well, sex is what you want. What you got to find what pleasures you. If you like robots in the bedroom and you want a robot with 12 battery packs on the back as a man or woman, that's okay. But that's not going to produce community, next generation, interconnectedness. And we wonder why everybody's killing everybody in the streets, because there's no more humanity. You take the humanity out the bedroom, you take the humanity out of that which is produced out of that bedroom. They're going to use that on Sunday.
Yep.
I'm going to hold somebody, write that down, make a t-shirt. If you take the humanity out the bedroom, you take the humanity out of that which is produced out of that bedroom.
Yes.
Now the same Greeks and Romans, now they start creating their terms. Homosexuality, lesbo, at the Isle of Lesbo, lesbianism, polyandry, polygamy, polyamorous. And now we got all these terms for something that was sacred. And all these terms have removed the sacredness. We have to get back to scripture. And ancient African culture aligns with scripture. I'm talking Old Testament. We got to get back to that Old Testament. We got to get back to the ancient ways, because that was the ways we had and it worked for us. Amen. Polyamory, just loving who you want to love. Does that really work? Now, does it work for pleasure? You got to ask the people that are polyamorous. I'm sure they'll say yes. Because if all you're trying to do is get a nut, excuse me, I don't know if I can say get a nut, but if you're just trying to orgasm, I'm sure that's okay.
Yeah.
Hell, you can orgasm if you go outside in the cold pole. And there's things people are doing to orgasm. Yep. People are putting everything in and out. They're doing all kind of stuff. But if you're talking about producing an energy that makes this man and woman stay together and bring up their children and raise a nation and family and business and trade old school that worked, polyamory, the way they're doing it today, ain't gonna work for black folks. I see Neo. I see you.
Yeah.
He having good time.
Yeah.
If he's chasing pleasure. But we've seen this movie before. R. Kelly had a whole bunch of people of age. And how'd that play out?
Yeah.
Because the energy, soon as he got arrested, where those women, where all the women who were enjoying it. I ain't talking about the little girls. I ain't talking about the teenagers. I'm talking about the grown women who were a part of it. None of them went to jail. He had fun. Huh? So if it's just polyamory, there's no investment in each other. Neo has 4 women. There's no children between him and those 4 women. They just having polyamory, and the women are kissing the women, and now duality. That's not polyamory. That's not ancient African culture. Polyamory is now lesbian and homosexuality, because not only do you have multiple lovers, but now you can get in the bedroom together with those multiple lovers. As much as I love Kahun Anku Sarah as my brother, I don't want to see him naked ever.
No, ever. No.
Ever. Like ever.
In the words of Andre 3000, that's right.
Yeah, forever. Right? So it's not that much amory in the world.
No.
And now we got to be careful, because the Greeks had multiple words for love. We did a class on the 12 forms of love, why they need it. But the Greeks had amor. See, so and this was man love. Some of these words, you got to be careful when we grab terms without knowing the origin of the terminology and the intent.
Right.
Because when they got to Africa, they created these notions about black and indigenous people of North and South America. The Greeks said large penises are a sign, large erect penises are a sign of lack of intelligence and a bestial nature. Small flaccid penises are a sign of intelligence. I didn't say that. That's the Greeks. That's Aristotle. That's Socrates. That's Plato. That's Herodotus. This is what the Greeks wrote.
Wow, we got a call about such. Wow.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm starting trouble.
I know.
All the small penis people, sorry. Sign off.
Like, at least I'm smart.
At least I'm smart. I'm too, but I ain't smart.
Sorry, caller. Let's get to the calls here on Guardian Radio today.
What kind of pass is this you bring on the radio, Uncle?
323.
Today I'm not Rev AJ Barber. Today I'm just Dr. Barber. So I'll put my collar down. My collar's off right now. So,
we gotta talk real low. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. The Family of Violence 242-300-5720, and the Guardian Radio text line is powered by BTC. That's 422-4796. Standard tax rates do apply. Call you live.
Hey, how you doing?
Great, man.
I have been listening a whole lot, and there's a lot. I have some issues. While overall in principle, there might be some value. I think there's a lot of issues with a lot of the blackwashing of history that I hear. You know, one of the things that I think is key to remember is that the issues of humanity are just that, the issues of humanity. They're not centralized to one grouping of humanity, whether you group that by
that was good before the Greeks, though. That was good before the Greeks. We didn't separate humanity.
Well, yeah, everyone.
No. We can't say everyone because that would be the whitewashing of history.
No, well, no. If you let me, we all separate.
Not we.
Tribal
not we.
separations are.
No. We said race. We're talking race now. We didn't say
no,
tribe.
I never said the word race. I never said the word.
I said blackwashing.
I said groupings of humanity.
You said blackwashing, sir.
Okay, but blackwashing.
No, we're not blackwashing. At one point, the only people on the planet were black people. That's not blackwashing history. That's reminding people of history.
Okay, so
I'm here today. They signed on to hear me, so I'm going to talk. I'm here today.
So you don't want to hear me then?
No, it's okay. I heard you. I'm just addressing one of the
No, but I
points
haven't spoken. I haven't even gotten a chance to speak.
Blackwashing of history, that term I take offense with. When black people
you take offense if you don't want to hear everything I have to say?
When black people speak of our greatness, people get offended, and I find that disingenuous. When Columbus is said to have discovered America,
by not allowing me, and so
okay, let's get to the point. Go. Get to your point. Go.
Right. So I'm saying the issues that you mentioned that you find in any other geographical region or groupings of human beings, whether it be by nationality or the term race, as you so put it. These are issues that are in every single kind of culture or grouping of people. We had the same kind of homosexuality. Homosexuality is in Africa.
That's not true. That's not true.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so now I got to stop you. That's not true. That's what that gentleman just said, Kahun Anku, is not true. Africans did not have homosexuality before the Greeks and the Arabs arrived. And
what about the Bagunda sexual ritual practices where there was group sexual ritual practices in Bagunda for childbirth?
Picked up from who?
That was ancient Africa. That was before.
No, it's not ancient. No, wait. See, I got to stop you again because you're saying what you may have read in a small. Have you traveled to Africa?
What?
Have you traveled? That's a no. For most people, that's a no.
No, I didn't.
If you've never traveled to a place, you're reading, and you're not investigating. See, I travel to the continent. I don't just read about the continent. That's number one.
So you have intellectual and moral superiority to me because you travel to a location.
Yes, I do, sir. It's called experience. It's like talking to a child.
If you have intellectual and moral superiority,
an adult has intellectual superiority to a child because the adult has more experience. That's all I'm saying to you. If you're going to call and have a discussion, then you have to speak not just with experience, but you got to have evidence and you got to have reason. What is your experience? What is your evidence? And what is your reasoning? I'm giving you the experience, the evidence, and the reasoning. It would be to your betterment to listen and then go and try to disprove the experience, the evidence. If not, we'll just get into a back and forth and you'll never win with me. It won't be fair.
And I want to say,
Kahun Anku, let's get back to
this Bagunda tribe. He said this is ancient Africa. This was 1886. 1886.
Wait. Someone wrote an act Bagunda tribe. Someone, that's one tribe out of thousands. So 1,000 tribes, we pick one that's engaged in behavior we want to engage in. That's the disingenuous thing.
Right.
I'm going to defend one tribe out of the 1,000. I'm going to rob 909. Said we don't engage in that. You are that, hey, I'm not saying call, I'm saying anyone. That people will say, the species of monkey
So
is one man.
we having a little robotic sound. We can run to a break. I don't know if the connection may be coming in and out. Let's run to a break and then come right back to this discussion with regard to the fact that we're talking about one tribe out of however many thousands of tribes. We're here with our special guest, Rev. Dr. A.J. Varma. We're talking love, lies, and liberation here on Guardian Radio today. My name is Pastor Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas III, and we're going to be back right after this.
Beulah gal, can you believe this? We are now the patrol queens of the neighborhood.
We now large and in charge. So we need to check out what's going on in everybody's yard. What about that gun that we know that Junior and his homeboys just ran out? Can we report that too?
Of course we can.
But we could be in deep trouble if they find out.
We need to report what we see, Beulah. When you call Crime Stoppers, they just answer your call in Miami.
So then we can report everything? Guns, where they hiding the drugs, who shoot who part of which gang, or who disturbing the peace with the loud music and the motorcycles.
Then our neighborhood will be the best in the Bahamas, and everybody gonna want to come live here. And then our house price.
What's the number?
If you see something, say something. Let us all pitch in and stop the crime before it's your time. Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands. Or text us through the Crack Crime Bahamas app. Stop the crime before it's your time.
City of Miami Gardens presents JITG Music Fest. Janae Aiko, Ludacris, Ashanti, Nelly, Glorilla, LMA, Maya, Joe, D-Nice and Friends, featuring SWV, Donnell Jones, Case, Sunshine Anderson, and Kenny Burns, the Isley Brothers, El DeBarge, Stephanie Mills, and so many more. March 7th and 8th, Hard Rock Stadium. Tickets and info at jazzinthegardens.com. jazzinthegardens.com.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
And we're back here on Guardian Radio today with your host, Pastor Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas III, also known as Kahun Anku Sarah. Special guest, the head priest of the Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah, Journey Home Group International, Rev. Dr. A.J. Varma. We're talking love, lies, and liberation. And we had some technical difficulties, but we're back now. We were talking about, Dr. Varma, you were in the middle of explaining that a caller mentioned.
There's a lie.
Yeah.
It was love lies. We're talking about the lie.
The lie. The lie.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
The lie. Right. So the caller, and I'm not attacking the caller, but I'm attacking the premise.
Yeah.
Right. Because before you pick up the phone to dial, make sure you put your stuff together. Like, who am I going to talk to?
Right.
And what am I about to say?
Right.
Africa today has over 3,000 distinct tribes.
Mm-hmm.
Of those, over 3,000 distinct tribes. That's just Africa. North America was the same or similar. Of those 3,000 to 10,000 tribes, we found the one. Right. And we're going to base our life on the one, which I'm okay with. But that same tribe I just pulled up, they also performed circumcision at age 19. How many men are lining up for that part? The woman had clitoral circumcision. How many? If you're going to follow that tribe, if we're going to quote that tribe, then we got to quote the entirety of the tribe. We can't, you know how people just grab a tattoo and put it on them and say it says Chinese. You're going to grab a Chinese tattoo, go do the whole thing. Right. You're going to grab a Polynesian tattoo, do the whole thing. We like to grab bits and pieces of people's culture without knowing that culture, its origin, the mentality, and what effects it has on the people who are practicing it.
Right.
But the other 2,000 plus tribes, they wasn't engaging in that. No. So why are we looking for the one tribe? It's the same thing with race. Mm-hmm. We're going to say, okay, there were Africans who sold people into slavery, and there were tribes. Of the thousands of tribes in Africa, you're going to find the 5 that sold people into slavery and use that as the reason to remove the burden of the 100% of the European nations that did sell Africans.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy work.
Yes.
As the young folks would say. That's crazy work.
Crazy
right
work
there.
indeed.
You follow?
Yep. Caller, you live.
Hey, good afternoon, Uncle. Dr. Varna, I think it is.
Varma. Mm-hmm.
Varma.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for your experience, and then thank you for trying to spread a light on the culture to get us out of this confusion that we're in. But I have an interesting theory. I used to study Dr. Bobby Hemmett when I finished university a couple of years back, and he proposed that we pretty much put ourselves into this induced trance state because we knew what was coming, like you said, when the Greeks started to take over and the Romans, and they warped our sexuality, our identity, the history, and the records. But, if you go further back, you would understand the Akashic records, which is sort of like they say the Bible is written on every man's heart. And if you study the life of Jesus, Jesus went straight to pretty much the outcasts of society, the prostitutes and the sinners. So right now, it seems like the African race is almost like a Christ, has taken a Christ-like character stance on the world, because we actually attracted to all of what society says is pretty much the worst of the worst. Like you said, the homosexuality and all of pretty much all of the worst of what they could portray us as. But deep down inside, I truly believe that has and knows the right way, the laws of light. And do you think that we actually are doing this on purpose so that we could pretty much fool the enemy into thinking that we are going astray, and we would just inevitably come together in one?
Not in that way. Not in that way.
Okay. I'll try to listen. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, I'm familiar, and that's an excellent point you're making. I'm familiar with Dr. Hemmett, Bobby Hemmett's work. But here's where, and I'm going to speak. When we just say in Black people, yes, innately in all humanity, there's somewhere deep down in there, in melanin, there's good, if you want to use the word good. But we have to also add into the equation that this interruption of melanated, global, I'm not just talking Africa, global melanated progression. Our societies were progressing along at a rate. We were building and technology and different things. And then along came an interference, but they didn't just interfere with us on a physical, as far as mental, emotional level, but there were cases where they bred in with us. And that inbreeding, which we all can, if we shake everybody hard enough, especially in the diaspora, shake us really good, you'll see some people drop out of us that are not melanin abundant. And so in the gene, there's also a self-destructionist in there. We talk about, yes, there was a point when we saw these invaders coming, that some of the intellectuals amongst us were put into a state that would allow, it's called epigenetics today, where they're talking about the genes are being repaired and the genes are remembering. It's called epigenetics, the science of epigenetics, where genes are now remembering who they are and doing science and mathematics and those higher things. That speaks to the Black genius that the great Dr. Amos Wilson wrote about, the Black genius, the indigo child we call Gene Isis or Gene Nazarene. So that is a reality. But in there also, if we're not careful, because out of that Black genius, of course, comes the Dr. Kings, the Marcus Garveys, the Elijah Muhammads, the Henry Clarks, the Bobby Hemmetts, the Ranoka Rashidis, the Francis Cresswellsons, Marimba Andes, Kenora Hudson Williams, Shahrazad Ali's, and we can go on. And those are the genes that were able to survive to keep this, because without these names and so many others that I've not named, the Black genius would have been forgotten. Mm-hmm. So those were certain family lines that were put under that. I mean, I'm using the word hypnosis, that were put under, as Professor Hemmett mentioned, that were put under so that they would be able to be here at this juncture to assist you and me. If not, everybody else whose genes had, because it wasn't every person in every tribe. We're all Africans, and we'll all say, well, we're all Africans, we were all kings and queens. Somebody took care of the goats, somebody did the farming, and those were not seen as less than, because all of those were necessary to keep the society working as an interconnected society. However, those that were of the priestly clans or priestessly clans or the queens or the people, the people of that spiritual realm, if you want to call it such, right? The biology, etc., of the African indigenous cultures in each tribe, they were put under to maintain the epigenetics, but always somewhere in their gene, something would say, no, don't do that. No, get from there. Oh, no, don't steal that, man. You're going to go to jail. Don't. She said no, right? And it kind of kept these people to where until they could come into their awakening where they would read or watch something online, and then they would, boom, they would have what we call a genetic explosion, an awakening. But for the average melanated person, no. They were put under through trauma, but not at the hands of our priests and priestesses, at the hand of the colonizer. We were mentally broken. We were spiritually broken. We were physically broken. We were emotionally broken. To wake up as a mother and see your child being taken from you and sold. To wake up as a father and see your wife being dragged into a house to be raped. And all of these things had a psychological, sociological, physical effect on us, and an effect, both of them, effect and effect on us. And out of that, that's what we're seeing. That gave birth to this behavior. This behavior is not to make us superior. This behavior is the result of us being brought from a superior state of being and thinking to an inferior state of being and thinking, where we now identify with the enemy and are always seeking to defend the enemy and look at, and when anyone speaks against the enemy system, we've been programmed to see that person as enemy. Result of our great priestesses and priests, our great teachers, that's a result of the colonizer who tied into the vine. And now many of us struggle with a genetic sabotage, right? And I'm talking from experience. We all have seen it, experienced it, whether internally or externally with those we love. Where there's people in our lives that just do things. We be like, what the hell? Yeah. What is wrong
Where did
with
that come from, right?
Where did that?
Yeah.
Why would you do that to yourself?
Right.
Self-destructive. The indigenous genes were preserving, self-preservation.
Right.
That's part of most species. How many species go out and try to just physically, emotionally, mentally screw themselves over? No. So that we've picked up. It's called tying into the vine. When they were leaving out of Europe, because they were suffering from Queen Victoria's secret, not the clothes, but the secret that she kept, which was that all of the heirs that she sent to marry into the various houses of Europe, into the royal families of Europe, that these heirs, these males, all suffered from hemophilia. The late Queen Elizabeth II, she was a hemophiliac. Inside of that purse she was always holding, she had a special pen that she could inject herself with if she ever got cut to stop the bleeding. Do some research, you can find out about it. It's not hidden.
Right.
So this hemophiliac gene, and when they saw the indigenous peoples around the world, especially on the continent, who had tribal scarifications called chalups in Nubia, these tribal marks on your face. You see the Yoruba, the Igbo, the Bassa, you see the Iwe, and they have these little marks on their face, little cuts that heal, and the tribal scars tell you what tribe they're from. So when they saw that, they understood that you had the power for your blood to bleed out. You didn't have hemophilia. The platelets, hemoglobin, everything was functioning correctly. And so they decided to kidnap you in part for that purpose. You look at all the crests of Europe. This is not me blackwashing, as my dear friend, I wish he was still here, right, said. This is me giving you history. The crest, I go to the British Museum religiously, right, whenever I'm in England, which is at least probably once or twice a year or more. And I go to the British Museum, or we go to the British Museum, and you see the crest of the houses of Europe, and you see black people on these crests. These black men and women were used genetically to tie into the vine. Well, the white slave masters in chattel slavery of the Americas did the same thing. They were to make more slaves, or the white slave mistresses and masters were raping and denigrating the bodies of black bodies and producing children. And these children would marry back in and marry back. But now we had the blood tainted. I'm saying the children were bad. I'm saying the tainting of the blood. We can do it today, right? We can all go to AfricanAncestry.com and they'll send you back your bloodline. And you'll see 5%, 10%, 20%, then you 3% European, 2% Norwegian. So that 2%, that 3%, that 7%, genetically has an effect on you.
Right. Listen, we gotta run to a break. We're gonna leave that's a little cliffhanger right there for people to understand. How the lies, loving the lies. We gotta stop loving the lies if we're gonna be liberated. And that little 2% in your bloodline has a huge effect on your behavior. We want to talk about that. And Dr. Varma, when we come back, I want to throw some statistics at you from the Bahamas, where we're talking about declining marriages and what the separation rate is and all that, because we're talking about healing this melanated love. And I want to just show what the numbers are showing here in the Bahamas. So keep it locked here on 96.9 Guardian Radio. Fresh news, smart talk, all day Guardian Radio. We'll be back right after this.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM.
And we're back here on Guardian Radio today with your host, Pastor Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas III, also known as Kahun Anku Sarah. Our special guest today, Rev. Dr. A.J. Varma, who is the head priest of the Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah Journey Home Group International. And we are happy to have him here as we discuss the realities in our community regarding love, lies, and liberation. The phone lines were lit up before we left, so whenever you call back, we'll squeeze you in. But before we dive into the phone lines, Dr. Varma, I'm looking at some numbers here. I just pulled up the Bahamas. We're in the Bahamas. So let me see what's going on here. It says key marriage into 2022. They talk about declining marriages. So legally married individuals dropped by 2.5% in 2023. They talk about rising divorces. Divorced individuals increase. Separations, the number of legally separated individuals increased by 75.6% between the time of 2010 and 2022, I guess, the pandemic. I don't know. And it goes on. It's looking glim, right? Based on what we've been talking about today, how much is this lie or these lies or these expectations that we bring into these relationships, is that why we're seeing the numbers that we're seeing in Bahamas today and around the world? I think you may be muted.
I said, you're trying to get me in trouble. Oh, my gosh. No, I think it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
Right? The old adage, and therein lies the truth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there's some truth combined with some lie.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to be able to decipher between that truth. Now this is something you and I have discussed many times, Kahun, Uncle Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
The numbers.
Right.
I think is it 20,000 more women to men in Bahamas?
Mm-hmm.
20,000.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Say again?
15 to 20,000. Yep. Mm-hmm.
15 to 20,000.
Mm-hmm.
So and I think that's the problem. When we said this 5 years ago in 2020, 2021, that's 2022,
right. Mm-hmm.
people looked at me like I was crazy. And I didn't just do it for Bahamas. We did it
Jamaica,
for different countries,
yep.
Liberia, Nigeria, everywhere I go, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's the same. It's nature, right? There's more women. Though let's say it a different way. They'll say that men to women is about 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
But melanated men to melanated women, that's the number we're concerned with. Right? If you just say men to women, 50-50. I can't argue that, especially since they were killing off the women in China or not letting baby girls be born. Let me say it that way. It sounds less offensive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're dealing with numbers and we're looking at divorce rates. When a people in the history, if we look at when in Bosnia and Herzegovina, Yugoslavia,
mm-hmm.
the war that took place,
right?
Bosnia, Herzegovina, Yugoslavia, former Yugoslavia. During the occupation, when those things were happening, what was the marriage birth rate of those who were being subjugated and colonized or occupied? Were those numbers good? Were those numbers bad? We'll have to go with bad. Just for
Yeah, I would think so.
okay. We look at Russia and Ukraine. During the last few years, the war has been going on between Russia and Ukraine. What has been the marriage birth rate in Ukraine during that time? Good or bad for the Ukrainian people?
Sure, it's bad.
Bad. Right? You can look it up. I'm doing it as we're talking.
Yeah.
Leave that. Go to Iraq. America, we went into Iraq after the 9/11, the invasion, the Gulf War, the second Gulf War. During the 20 plus years that America was in Iraq, what was the marriage rate in Iraq? Low? Not very high.
Right.
And we can do that in different places. So what does that tell us? When the people are occupied, colonized, or subjugated, it interferes directly with their marriage and birth rate. Why? Because when an occupier comes in, he's going to change your approach to everything you do.
Right.
Whether it's your approach to hiding what you do because he's there, or your approach to doing your indigenous ways because he's now going to bringing a new type of education, a new type of clothing, a new type of music, a new type of that's foreign to you. Thus, it's going to interfere with how the male and females are going to interact with each other because now their perspective of each other is going to be influenced by its propaganda, by the occupier.
Right. Right.
All of us say that in 1960, 1970, 1980, 1990s, depending on which Caribbean or African nation, we gained our independence. And we say gained our independence from colonial rule. But in the gaining of the political independence from colonial rule, what are the residuals that have been left behind by that colonial ruling system?
Exactly.
Now, for me to ask that question, I don't know if that would fall under blackwashing, but we're gonna put some black on it. Let's put a little black on it real quick.
Yes.
I prefer black dirtying because dirty is a good thing, right? Dirty South.
Right.
So we're gonna black dirty it up. We're gonna put some black on it. I like my, you want your meat blackened, right? We're gonna blacken the meat. What is the residual that is, and this is every other group of people. When the Chinese, after the Opium Wars against England, the Chinese closed the doors. Their policy was, we ain't talking to nobody outside of China till we fix us. Because they understood that everybody outside of China, whenever they give us something, it's not good.
Right.
Whenever they give us their opinions, it's not to the betterment of China.
Right.
Whenever they give us their food, it's not going to help the Chinese farmer.
Right.
This was understood. We of the Caribbean, we of the African continent must understand and do the same. We must comprehend and recognize the necessity of doing a reboot. Yes, we have political independence, if you want to call it such, with the exception of the Governor General and all these other things in the Commonwealth states. So I'm not really sure about that, but we'll leave that for now. We'll leave that to the politicians for another day.
Yeah.
But for those of us that are just looking at it from a relationship standpoint, we have to ask the question. It begs us to ask the question. It implores us. It requires us. It demands of us that we ask the question, what have we retained when it comes to relationships from that colonial system? And has it been to our betterment or has it been to our demise? And that's where those numbers. Yeah. So now when we read the same numbers, now it makes sense.
Right. Right.
That when they left out, they left some things behind. They left their concept of religion. They left their concept of fashion. They left their concept of food. They left their concept of politics or the way the system is supposed to govern. They left their concept of language or bourgeois, what we call superior dress, what we call high end. is no longer what we called it before. And we have to address that. If not, the black male and female interaction is never going to get better because we're using the same formula that was given to us by the colonizer, enslaver, subjugator, kidnapper. The lie has been given to us, and we love it so much because it's all we know.
Yes.
When I asked one of the former callers, did you travel? I wasn't saying it like, shut up. I'm saying part of traveling is being exposed to the world.
Right.
Not from a Eurocentric perspective, but to go and sit with the people themselves and say, you are Yoruba or Yoruba. You live in Ile-Ife. What is Yoruba?
Right.
That's a different conversation I had than talking to somebody who read a book about Yoruba.
Right. Yeah.
You leave there, you go sit with a person who's Igbo from Nigeria. You are Igbo. Tell me your story. That's different than reading it online. If I look online and say, what is a Rastafarian? Oh my goodness. I can get anything. Right. That's different than going to Jamaica up into the hills and finding some of the old school before the people became rascals, the old Rasta.
Yeah.
And sitting with them and letting you.
Yeah.
Understand?
We got some phone calls.
Go ahead.
I want to make sure these people get through to you because they're excited to talk to you. So 323-6232, 3254-316-325-4259, the Family Violence, 242-300-5720. Of course, we're streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com. And we're also on Cable Bahamas, channel 969, or BTC Flow, channel 612. Caller, you're live here on Guardian Radio today.
Hi. Good day, folks. How are you?
Great. Thanks for calling. Doing well.
Okay.
Doing well.
Good day to the, I don't know if it's a doctor.
Dr. Varma. Dr. Varma.
Pardon?
Dr. Varma is his name.
Dr. Varma, okay. I heard him speaking about blood hemophilia with Queen. She had the same blood. What queen was that?
Elizabeth, the one who just died. Elizabeth II.
Oh.
The one who just died.
Yeah,
King Charles, his mama. Yeah, Queen Elizabeth.
Okay. And with that said, and because her blood was thin, right?
Not just thin, she had the platelets. Go ahead, I'll let you go.
Okay. But I'm asking you this, okay, because I'm a little victim of this as well. I've been told that the sickle cell trait, and the sickle cell is synonymous with being black. It happens a lot in people who are black, right? It causes a lot of clotting. And what is your take on that, though?
Okay, now we're talking sickle cell. Let's make sure. And I've had this conversation.
I'm saying, are you familiar with that, though?
Yes, I am. But let me tell you what.
Okay, so I can hang up because I've been holding on a little while, and I can listen to you on the air. Okay.
No problem. When you talk about sickle cell, first of all, there's white people with sickle cell also because they've tied into the vine. But what is sickle cell? A million years ago, a precursor gene was born amongst African people to fight off the fact that people in equatorial Africa were dying from malaria. So as nature would have it, the body created a mutation, a sickled cell, to allow those people who would be bitten by this mosquito to be able to survive it, the malaria that this mosquito was a carrier of. Many black people in equatorial regions of the world, and some white people, when you look it up, you'll find out, carry sickle cell. Okay. Then there's a thing called sickle cell anemia. Now we're adding the anemic portion to it. Anemia. So you have anemia. What is this thing? Anemia. That's a lack of healthy red blood cells, reduced oxygen. Because of tying into the vine, because hemophilia, you see the relationship?
Okay.
Because of tying into the vine, those who were already in possession with the sickle cell Now another mutant strand came in, and I have relatives, some who have it. I have a niece that has sickle cell anemia. And my mom used to always tell my sister, Musu, you have sickle cell. You're West African. Make sure you don't get with anyone who has sickle cell anemia, because listen, but that's a different discussion, right? My sister will kill me later. But the anemia portion, but the way they group it, they'll make most people think you got sickle cell. Oh, no, most West Africans, most people of sub-Saharan Africa have sickle cell. But we don't have anemia. That's from him, the hemophilia gene. And it merged with the sickled cell gene and became a mutant strand called sickle cell anemia. I learned this from my mama, who's a physician. This back when I was 6, 7, 8 years old. She sat me down, pulled out all the medical books, walked me through it. And so today they'll say, "Oh, you have sickle cell anemia." There's black people with sickle cell anemia today. But so any person who has that say, "Okay, you stop trying to treat the sickled cell and treat the anemia." They're giving people treatments for the sickled cell. That's a genetic marker for survival. Treat the anemia. People who have anemia, what should they be eating more of?
The iron.
Not just iron. More of what? Iron, vitamin C. It's not just the iron. Because you can have all the iron in the world, but without the vitamin C, you got to pair the iron with vitamin C so that the body absorbs it.
Yes.
What other vitamin?
What about
vitamin sun? Vitamin sun. You know what vitamin sun is?
Yes.
Vitamin D. Vitamin D, when you have low vitamin D levels, you increase your risk for the anemic gene to be activated. Now, that would make sense for the hemophilia who are coming from the region of North. So we of the Caribbean, we need to get some sun, but we always running inside. Go outside and sit on your porch and get some sun. With the vitamin C, with the iron-enriched foods, now you don't have as many crises. But if I stay inside under the air condition with no vitamin D, don't take the vitamin C, and I'm only taking iron because the person who's treating me is treating the sickled cell and not the anemia.
Wow.
The anemia is the problem. The sickle cell is not the disease. I got sickle cell. I'm West African.
Right.
My mama got it. My daddy got it. All my siblings got it. We all got sickle cell. I don't have a crisis because I don't have anemia.
Right.
Stop trying to treat your genetic superiority. The sickled cell is what we have in West Africa, a thing called the Order of the Mosquito. Go on Google, type in Order of the Mosquitoes. We say this is what kept West Africa from being inundated with Europeans because they can't get past that mosquito malaria that kills them. So we have a sacred society called the Order of the Mosquito. So sickle cell is not, we don't see it as a problem. We understand that the anemia. So to any person listening, you don't got to believe me, but just if you have sickle cell anemia, do some research and start treating the anemic portion. Treat the anemia. Sickle cell is the genetic superiority. The anemia was tied into the vine. Treat the person suffering from low iron, a person suffering from hemophilia. Not that you're losing blood, but you're losing the platelets that are necessary to allow your body to retain more oxygen.
Wow. You got some more calls, Dr. Balmer.
Okay.
Thank you very much for that answer. Calling you live.
You gotta pay me though. You gotta pay me. You gotta pay me, man.
I know,
They're gonna give me all these other people millions of dollars, and they're gonna say, "Thank you, Dr. Palmer."
No, that's real talk. Because
my Cash App is payme.com. I'm just playing.
Yeah. Calling you live here on Guardian Radio today.
Yeah, good afternoon, and good afternoon to the doctor.
Good afternoon, my brother.
Very great show today.
Thank you.
And you know what I want to say. The point I look at what is happening, Doc and Anku, in our community as it relates to crime.
Right.
It appears, not so much appears, let's look at the statistics, and, we have every demographic or every race living here in the Bahamas, every nationality. But when you look at this brutal, violent crime, The only people who are murdering and killing up one another are people who look like us. They're eating the same food. I mean, the white community, the expats, they're eating the same food. They share the same food stores. But we are basically annihilating one another. Every time there's a murder, I can almost bet that the victim and the perpetrator they look like. What is fueling this? I know, based on research, I followed Dr. Ray Hagan. I listened to Dr. Henry Clark and their theory on it. But what is the doctor's theory on this? We know they removed the father from the nucleus, the family structure, and then the provider and the protector is ceremoniously removed. Complete chaos. Complete chaos is what we have. Then they brought us over. We speak about relationship. They brought us over from Africa, but when they met us in Africa, they met our multiple queens and wives. That is why I was happy to see the doctor who dealt with that gentleman who believed that homosexuality was originated in Africa.
Right.
And that is not the case, because when that maiden ship left Africa, there were no homosexuals, there were no Bahamians, there were no Jamaicans, what have you, all Africans on that ship coming into this side of the town. And then they asked us to get married, put a ring on our fingers, and leave us open as an open target. Because that's all that happens, when you see the phone, what they call it, sweethearting, et cetera, but we were not built that way as black people. We know this. But what is your take on all of this chaos that's going on in this black country?
Let's go back to the what you just said, what the gentleman is just explaining to us. I want to go to the point where he was making about the murders. First and foremost, when the great Barbara Henry Clark spoke on it, and Ray Hagan speaks on it, when we look at crime across the world, crime is often committed against people by the people in their region. If you go to China, the number one killer of Chinese people in China are Chinese people, right? Because there's a very homogenized or very singularity society, right? So you're not going to find a bunch of Chinese people being killed by outsiders because you're in China. You go to Afghanistan, the number one killers of the Afghanis are Afghanis. Go to Pakistan, the same. So black countries are no different. Now, the difference being this, or we're no different when it comes to that. But here's where we differ. And I was having this conversation a couple of days ago, I think it's been now, that during enslavement, you were conditioned to become okay with Black Death. You had to be able to see your loved one killed, and you couldn't go to the funeral. Used. I know the TVs always show you, they let you bury it. That didn't happen, right? Do a little bit of reading, right? Mass graves. You didn't get to see people buried. You didn't get to see people, if they got sold away, babies were sold right out the womb. You didn't get to see your loved ones. And meanwhile, if the slave master or one of their loved ones died, you literally had to, by force, participate in weeping and moaning to put a show on for his friends or their family members that how much you love their master. This is fact. So it created a condition where Black Death was okay. Now, coming out of slavery, fast forward for the people who say, why we got to talk about slavery? I never hear a Jewish person say, why we got to talk about the Holocaust? Every year there's a Holocaust movie on. So we're going to talk about it because they keep talking about the Holocaust because they understand the day you stop talking about it, it's going to happen again. But anyway, fast forward to today. Every TV show still has the same tropes of the bad guys coming out the shadows or wearing all black. The anti-hero, Venom, he wears black. The anti-hero, it's got this gothic kind of black on black. You go to the gun range, you're still shooting at a black target on a white background, never a white target on a black background. The subliminal seduction, the propaganda machine. We're listening to rap music, right? The young people listening to the hip hop music, controlled by white music executives who tell these young men and women who go in with an idea to sing or rap something that's cultural, something that's empowering. So, no, I need more grime. I need more grunge. I need more guns. When they're shooting their videos, I'm not talking from what I read only. I'm talking about I used to be in New York City on Bushwick Avenue, in York Studios. Met Redhead Kingpin face to face, Queen Latifah. Met Big Daddy Kane, the Zoe he was called. All these guys, right? Melly Mel, Furious Five, grew like around them. And these guys, when the music first started, it was about getting off of drugs. White Lines, Curtis Blow, giving up the drugs. Giving up the drugs. It was about loving the Black Queen. Queen Latifah, all had the Queen. It was all about Black empowerment and Black overcoming. And to the East, my brother to the East, X-Clan, and all this kind of stuff. And then somebody shifted the music. White executives were behind it. They started sampling. We went away from sampling R&B.
You wanted to
I don't know if I can still be heard.
Yeah, he was trying to.
I just want to say something, though. Okay. The Bahamas, when I look at this, I like to follow the data. I like to look at statistics. The Bahamas, we became an independent nation in 1973. Prior to 1967, the Bahamas was controlled by our white colonial masters. That's who governed us. But when you look at your watch, and I'm looking at the statistics, many years up to the 60s, we didn't have one murder when they were governing us.
Right, but here's the problem.
A lot of this violence
not just Black government. No, you're leaving out subliminal seduction. Frances Cress Welsing said, and she said this in 72, a year before I was born, so that's 54 years ago, right? She said, Black people, Neely Fuller said it, Sheikh Issa said it, Black people are being taught to rap and sing our destruction. Being taught. She didn't say we wanted to sing it, because in 1950s and 60s we weren't singing. The young, we have a group,
in the mid 70s.
Right, but in the mid 70s, what else came with it? But what else came with it? Calhoun Uncle, I don't know if I can be heard.
Yeah, go ahead.
What else came with it? Music. Technology. Once you open the doors, it wasn't that the politicians were bad innately. I don't know. I can't speak for every politician, but innately, you open the door for free trade. Most of the problems that happen with most colonial powers in Nigeria, they're saying the same thing you're saying in Bahamas. In Liberia, my dad's generation, they're 70-something years, they're saying we didn't used to have this Amadou before 1960, 1970, 80. We wasn't like this. You go to Nigeria, my relatives there. I go to Gambia, my relatives there. I go to Sierra Leone, my relatives. So everyone, I go to Jamaica. So Bahamas is not an outliner. Bahamas is a replication of everything that's happening everywhere else. But what everyone does not want to address is the power of sound. When we began this conversation a couple of hours ago, we were talking about in Africa interconnectedness. We cannot separate the problem. We have to interconnect the problem to find a solution. Music, if music soothes the savage beast, then music can also bring out the savage beast. This is not just a Black thing. In America, they did it in the 80s that's why they got rid of rock music. Rock music was decimating white America. These white kids was losing their damn minds. I know, I used to be around them. They were doing, I was like, yo, these white kids is crazy. And so they said the music got a problem. So what did they do? They created what's his name? David Blue Bland. I always mess up his name. Dave Blue Bland. They created what's the one with the saxophone with the long hair? Kenny G. They influxed a bunch of what they called white soul to move their children from that rock music into. Now all these young white kids, teenagers, and maybe into their early, late 20s are going to listening to music, Dave Blue Bland singing Frank Sinatra. They understood that. Now, let me finish. So while that was happening, what did they encourage the new rap groups that were coming in to sample? But they were no longer sampling James Brown. They were no longer sampling Otis Redding. They were now sampling rock music. So now the young people are listening to rock music, which removes the love. There's no more foreplay. Stick it, shove it, yeah, give it to it, yeah, E, B, E, Nick. That's what they're listening. You can't listen to that all day and go out and look at another person and not be in a hyper-aggressive, hyper-war-minded state. And all is about, I kill those ends. I shoot those ends. I'm a bad mother. I'm a bad bee. You listen to that all day. That's what we're seeing. And until we address that, we can pray about it. We can have a national day of fasting. Liberia, it's the same problem. Same problem. But no one addresses the music, no one addresses the science, no one addresses the education. Neely Fuller, he wrote a book called The Counter-Racist Code. And in there, he talked about the 9 areas of people activity. His name is Neely, Neely. He died last year, 2025. He was the Miss Wilson. He wrote a book called The Compensatory Counter-Racist Code, where he addressed the 9 areas of people activity: religion, economics, labor, sex/gender, education, law, war/security, entertainment, and politics, and how those 9 areas were attacked. And because they were attacked and we don't understand how they were attacked and how to counter the attack, everything the gentleman is saying is correct. What's the counter? We're here to discuss the counter. How do we counter the codified for this system to be happening in Liberia and Nigeria and Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, and Sudan, and Somalia, and Jamaica, and Santo Domingo, and El Salvador? If it's working in all these lands, being spoken with different languages, different cultures, or simulations of cultures, why is it working? It must be a system, and that's why it's called racism, white supremacy. The system of racism. I'm sorry?
The white Bahamians listen to the same music, right? They listen to the
No. They're actually not. The white Bahamians are not. I don't mean just one. Again, we make a one outliner. They're not listening to the same music because they're not in the dominant position. Music has an effect based off your position. If you're in the if you're in the lesser position, the effects of a white child. There's a young lady. She's the head of the Hilton family. Her name is Paris Hilton. I don't know if y'all remember, maybe about 15 years ago, she was buck damn wild. Her, Lindsay Lohan, they was walking around sleeping with every black guy, white guy they could find. And they had a bunch of black girls who was following that crap. Well, now and then all of a sudden they whitewashed. The internet took all that crap about her offline, and now she's running the board of the Hilton Empire, billionaire. See, a white child can lose their way and find it back. A black child don't have that opportunity. A black girl doing the same thing Lindsay Lohan, and Lindsay Lohan was a kleptomaniac, robbing every store she could go to, and they kept sending her home. A black girl doing the same thing that Paris Hilton was doing in 1990s and early 2000s would not be the head of Hilton. They have a thing called sowing their oats. They let their children go out, do debauchery, and then clean up and come back, do drugs, try everything.
The father,
and they can get away with it. We have a different reality. The black father must be back in the home, but that black father must have the information to counter the racist code. Just him being in the house is good, but him having the information to counter the racist code, and him having a wife who understands that countering of the racist code and them working together, that's where the Love Lies Liberation comes in.
But I would just like to say this on public radio. The absentee father plays a big role, and it doesn't look like successive government.
Again, I can't speak.
They're not interested in restoring the father in the home.
But it's not up to government to do that. Here's what I would say. That's where the grassroots, that's where the church, the mosque, the synagogue, that's where the lodge, the fraternity, the sorority, we're the people touching the children, or supposed to be. I don't mean touching like the Catholic Church, right? Get it wrong, right? But we're the people supposed to be able to interact with the young people. That's where we come to play. The sermon has to change. I'm a pastor, but I teach this way. Tahun Uncle Sarah, he's a pastor. But we teach this way. Wake up, everybody. Time to teach a new way.
Right.
Maybe then they'll listen to what we have to say.
But that is true. But this music thing, you know, and why I keep saying that you're right. You know, dance and music is what we use to kill John the Baptist. You know, she danced to the music and serenaded the king, and the rest is history. That's basically.
So we have to. So again, so now we have to counter that racist code, and that's why we do this every year. This Love Lies Liberation conversation throughout the entire month of February, and I pray you will attend. We do this because we understand that there are layers upon layers upon 9 layers of people activity that we have to address, and they can all be addressed, but they have to start by getting the black woman and the black man on the same page. The same page is not to love each other. No, we got a lot of loving. The same page is not to, I respect my queen and my king. No, the same page is to realize we are under oppression.
Wow. We got to take a break. Got to take a break. That is a powerful way to come out of this break. This is the last break of Guardian Radio today. Can we, as the black man and the black woman, get on the same page and first see that we are both under oppression? We're going to talk about that and more right after this break. Keep it locked on Guardian Radio today on 96.9. Fresh news, smart talk all day. Back after this.
For fast, reliable, and impactful printing services, look no further. Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life. We stand by our quality products that is second to none. Our affordable pricing and friendly, efficient staff makes Printmasters the ultimate choice for all your printing needs. We can deliver any type of printing services, from banners to booklets to business cards. You name it, we can print it.
Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Step inside the John Baptiste Jazz Club at Baha Mar, where the rhythm of the islands of the Bahamas meets the soul of New Orleans. Every night, the lights dim and the air fills with that unmistakable energy, the kind that makes you close your eyes and just feel. Savor signature cocktails, curated small plates, and live performances from world-class musicians, all in an intimate, artfully designed space where every seat has a story. Whether it's a romantic night out or a spontaneous evening with friends, this is where you want to be. The John Baptiste Jazz Club, only at Baha Mar. Reserve your table now at bahamar.com/jazz club or through the Baha Mar app, because every evening plays its own tune.
Struggling to find your financial rhythm? Make that move to Fidelity and let us help you orchestrate your financial goals into perfect harmony with free financial coaching sessions. Make that move today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
And we're back for our final segment here of Guardian Radio today here on 96.9 Guardian Radio. My name is Pastor Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas III, also known as Kahun Anku Sarah. Our special guest today, the head of the Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah, Journey Home Group International. His name is Rev. Dr. A.J. Varma. Dr. Varma, we got 2 calls on here. Let's see if we can get through those calls and then wrap up the show. Call it. Go ahead, my brother. We can hear you.
Hey, how you do?
I'm great, man.
All right.
You have a question for Dr. Varma today?
Yes. I like them to address the subservient leaders we have in this country. You know what I mean? And the world, you know what I mean? We call it talk about, what's the name, the guy from Manly. You know what I mean? Manly stood up people like Castro set up. What about our leaders today? They so subservient, man.
Okay, so subservient leaders. What say you, Dr. Varma?
Well, I'll say it the way I was taught. Every country, every nation of melanin people, wherever we may be, we understand what colonization or subjugation or enslavement was.
Mm-hmm.
So in that, we must recognize that there are still powers that be. If they can go in to remove someone in Haiti years ago, Aristide, who was doing right for his people, was put gun to the head and taken out by the Navy SEALs. Or I think recently we removed someone in Venezuela. It's happened in Libya. It's happened all around the world. It's happened. They exiled Kwame Nkrumah from Ghana. They exiled Idi Amin from Uganda. And it's happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you're in politics, I'm very careful to, in my critique, not criticism, but critique of politicians, to understand that they're under a different microscope. The higher up in governance a person goes, their microscope changes and the noose tightens. So we must not change the condition until the population is unified in its thinking enough to have an agenda that the politician who needs votes has no choice than to respond to.
Powerful. Mm-hmm.
Whether that's in the Bahamas or in Jamaica, Liberia, United States, wherever. If the people don't have an agenda, what is the agenda? What is it not what do we want? Because everybody will tell you what they want. What is it that I'm contributing to creating?
Okay.
Right? There's 9 areas of people activity. Religion is number 1. Spiritual systems, whatever you want to put to it. When by the time we get to Rel Salwep, the last is politics.
Right.
Because if all of those other 8 are not in order, then it's very difficult. See, Burkina Faso, Togo, Benin, those men, regardless of whether you like their politics, I'm not talking about the politics, that's to each country to do what's necessary for her people. But those men are military people. So there's a level of discipline.
Yes.
Now, we as the population will cheer Burkina Faso's Ibrahim Traoré. But are you ready to live the discipline that him and his military people demand of you? Nope. Nope. That's a big nope for most people. I say no for me.
I got you.
So so what we are asking for, we have to first be the type of people. I have a saying where I say, if people get the type of leader they require, and a leader gets the type of people he inspires. So if we don't like what we see in whatever country, whatever organization, then it's for you to require better by being inspired to be better. See, we can blame each other. We can fix. I can fix me.
Yes.
Dr. Cleveland Indians III can fix him.
That's right.
And if we each start first with that fixing of self, then we'll have better politicians.
Right.
Because they'll have no choice. But if we require a little bit of debauchery, I like my debauchery. I like my debauchery on Netflix or Hulu. Somebody else likes their debauchery on Tubi. Somebody else likes their debauchery. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we all. I want you to fix it, but can you leave a little bit of the porn channel for the people who watch porn? We can't have that.
Right.
I've got to be willing to give up that vice if I'm going to require you to give up your vice. And now, if we do that. Now the politicians that ain't on that note, they're going to stand right out. So if we want liberated politicians, we must become liberated people.
Amen.
If we want black thinking politicians, then we must become black thinking citizens. If we want Pan-African politicians, then the society must become Pan-African. Ibrahim Traoré was raised in the society, and out of that which he was raised in the shadows, they produced the Ibrahim Traoré. Are we creating that in Bahamas, in Jamaica, in Liberia? Are we creating that same energy from the grassroots? If the grass grows from the roots, what are we putting there? That's where it begins.
Awesome. We got another call. We got another call here on Garden Radio today. Caller, you're live.
Hey, great show as usual, and you guess how you doing?
Doing well, my brother. How are you?
Right on, man. I don't wholeheartedly, totally agree with your guess with certain things, right? That's why I call the show right now.
No problem. Just get
First
to it.
of all, the music, right? To me, the music, it was actually the devil's ministry, right? Right? So he actually used that for influence. The problem in that is, right, is still the mindset. Remember, me and you are the same age. Back in the day, we had this worse music than we have now.
You think so?
That is that we never used to have influence like how, for instance, we had music like Cuddy Runks. We're gonna cut them down. Send for the hacksaw. Take out them tongue. Remember them tongue?
We didn't have 24-hour inundation of music and television.
No,
we didn't
hold
have
on.
that.
Let me finish talking first, so then we could get to my point, right?
Make it quick,
second thing, right? We had music talking about selling drugs. We never used that to influence us. We used to listen to the music. We had other songs by the Hot Boys. Cash Money Hot Boys. BG used to talk about setting up hits. We never used to use that and kill people. We just used to listen to music. Nowadays, they have music about using drugs. At some point, I don't know where Becoming a Jones became popular, but that's how the music carry on now. But we never had that type of influence on that back in the day. The third thing I'd like to jump on, right, but I don't wholly agree with you guys with, right, the racism part. The white and the black thing is a little iffy thing with me, right, based on the fact that we don't have racism in the Bahamas. Now, if we just had a topic like this in the U.S., I could see where it relates, right?
Racism has nothing to... No, I got to interrupt because of time. I got to interrupt. Let me address that. Racism, everyone, I think we're making a mistake of what racism is. Racism is not black and white. Racism is a system. Let's be careful. Bahamas has racism. It doesn't have races as far as abundant, white, abundant. Racism is the system that denigrates black body. Racism is the system that denigrates black potential. Racism is the system that miseducates the black mind to believe that it is less than. That's racism.
Yes.
Racism is not a person. Racism is a system of global oppression. The gentleman mentioned about the music. Yes, but the people today have 24 hours because of cell phones and the internet. You can act. Years ago, if he's as old as me, I'm 52. I'll be 53 soon.
He's our age.
Right. We remember when TV went off.
That's right.
Midnight came, the flag waved. They played your national anthem, and the TV went off. We come from a generation where the radio, you're listening to 107.5 WBLS. This is signing off. And the radio went off. Today it is 24 hours, 7 days a week inundation. That is a totally different system than 1970 and 1980. That's what we're not addressing one white person. We all got white friends. I got white friends. I like them. We hang out.
Right.
But we're not talking about my one white friend. I'm talking about a system of oppression. Love, Lies, Liberation is saying we must dress for the sake of relationships. The global system of oppression that makes the black woman think her hair is not straight enough. Her hips are too big. Her nose is too big. Her skin is too dark. Him, the black man with the skinny jeans. This is propaganda that's being hit against us. So racism is I'm not addressing one white person. I'm addressing the system that makes black people hate themselves. But unfortunately, that system was designed by white men. Arab men.
Fox.
That's all I'm saying. The people who designed it, I got to give them credit. If there was something giving them credit. But now because it's something they don't like, they don't want me to give the credit, I got to give you the credit.
Yes.
It's a system. I'm addressing the system. And that system keeps us ignorant. I don't hate white people. But because I don't hate you, don't mean I got to love everything you do. I got to be able to call it what it is. When a Jewish person speaks out against the German Holocaust, they say, oh my God, you keep talking about Germans. All Germans aren't bad people. They say, we're not talking about the all Germans, we're talking about the Holocaust. I'm not talking about every white person. I'm talking about the Holocaust, the ma'afa of black people.
That's right.
And the breakup of the black family is predicated off of that system. And that system perpetuates ignorance within the black mind and the black family and the black relationship. And I have to address it as a black man, because if I don't address it, if you don't address it, if we don't address it, then who?
Right. Love Lies, Liberation 2026. Where can people get tickets, information on this great event?
They can go to journeyhomegroup.com, journeyhomegroup.com. You'll see the link. It will be on the home page. You click it, and you can order your tickets. It's online and in person, depending on where you are located. You can either be online on your listening or wireless device, or you can go in person if you're in the areas where the in-person is happening. There's a workbook that goes along with your ticket. It's 100+ pages, so it's worth it, I promise you. And it's a discussion that's necessary for those who need and can embrace it in this way.
Yeah.
Right. We don't want to, get nobody fired up and angry. If this is too much for your palate, we understand. It's ain't for everybody. Right. We always tell people there's different channels you can go to. But if you're a person if you're a mother, single father, and you tired of you looking at your children and you want them, you say something's missing, they're not like we used to be. What's missing is a message that resonates with their situation. But we got to start saying, but why are they that way? And it's not just they're bad people. Someone is focusing on them. Yeah. Someone has earmarked them for destruction. And if we don't do something, we're the lions. The hyenas are taking over the pride land. We got to do something about it. I'll leave it there.
And if you enjoyed this conversation, trust me, this is really only the tip of the iceberg. So if you are able to chime in, that's all during the month of February. That's on Saturdays, correct?
Every Saturday, the 7th, the 14th, the 21st, and the 28th of February.
Okay, so you can get the whole package for the whole month, or you can pick whichever week you want to come in on. And trust me, it's not surface level conversation. Like you saw today, we really dive in deep. And Dr. Varma will be there. Other special guests will be there. I'll be there. We really, really...
And you don't got to agree with everything we say, Cajon. I think you need to throw that in.
Yes.
I'm not asking people to agree with me. My job is not to get you to agree with me.
Right.
Our job is not to wake you up or get you to agree with us. My job is to get you to want to know more than what you know, so you go out. I got to offend you. We got to speak truth to power. We got to speak and say shock and awe. My job is to offend your mind enough to shake you at your core, piss you off enough to say, I'm going to prove him wrong. And then in trying to prove me wrong, you'll learn more than what you knew before you signed on today.
Amen. This has been Guardian Radio today. Our special guest today, Rev. Dr. A.J. Varma, the head priest of the Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah, Journey Home Group International. Thank you, my brother, for taking the time to be with us. And we'll see you again soon, I'm sure. But we really appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Talking Heads is up next. Naughty and